Hello everyone, it's Jeff Stepien once again, and welcome to the studio. Now in this recording session, what we're going to do is we're going to start mixing together our tracks. Now basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I start with a foundation of certain tracks. It might be one track, it could be a number of tracks, and then basically I build upon that and add one track at a time and adjust mixing levels to create the right type of mix that we're looking to get. So with no further ado, let's get started. Alright, so now we are going to focus on starting with our mix down. Now basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it track by track. Okay, so what we're going to start with actually is our auxiliary track and a couple of these synth sounds that basically will serve as the background music. Now I've done a lot of mixing already, so I'm just basically going to try to explain the steps that I took to achieve the mix. Now, in starting, how I started out was there's certain tracks that I only want to play through the auxiliary channel and through the reverb effect. Now those tracks I'm going to keep muted. I'm going to play the auxiliary track and some of the channels that I have muted out completely. They only play through the auxiliary track. So that's the first track I started with. And not only did I start with that track, but I started with the moving pad, which is a synth track, and the sand pad, which is a synth track. And this is the sound that you get. Now what's interesting about that, if you listen closely, you could actually hear some vocals. You could hear a little trace of the acoustic guitar. That's because that's the amount that's being sent to the reverb effect and is being played through that track. Now other than that, you hear the wave effect, you hear the stream effect. Those two channels are muted. They're only playing through the reverb effect track. Okay, and when you're doing a mix, obviously you got to deal with volume levels, but you also have to deal with pan levels. And what a pan level does is it will pan a specific sound from left to right in the sound landscape. Now, the foundation that we have set is the auxiliary reverb track and the two synth sounds. Now basically what I've done is I haven't panned the reverb sound at all. So that means the reverb sound is dead center. It's basically being played equally throughout the entire sound landscape. Now with the synth sounds, I have one panned completely to the right, the other one panned completely to the left. And that is why you get a full sound. You have the reverb in the middle, and one synth sound on the left, one synth sound on the right. Now, I've already adjusted the send levels of each track, as you can see there. For the ones that I'm sending reverb to, they're all adjusted. So basically that determines how much of that sound I want sent to reverb, and we could hear that on the auxiliary channel. Now the first instrument I'm going to build upon is the acoustic guitar. Now there's the acoustic guitar. Now with the acoustic guitar, you can see the initial volume that I have the level set at. And then I also have it panned to the left 25 degrees. Now basically, with panning you get a total of 128 selections. The middle selection is 0. You can go as much as 63 to the right, negative 64 to the left. That gives you 128 possible options for panning. Now what the pure square lead is, that's also a synth sound, but it's more of like just a melody type of sound rather than creating a harmonious background sound. Now I'm going to play that as well so that you can tell what's going on there. So we have that pure square lead sound mixed in. I also have that mixed to the left. Now as we move along, the next track that's going to enter the mix is the piano track. Okay, the piano track we have panned to the right side of the mix. So now we have a number of instruments on the left side, a couple things going on the right side. Actually, it's mostly the piano for right now, even though we are going to mix other sounds into the right side as well. Okay, now the next track that we are going to mix in is the bass track. And with the bass track, I'm going to show you. I only have it panned slightly to the right, because with the bass, unless you have other bass sounds, you could pretty much keep the bass in center, because all the other higher frequencies will play above that, and we're going to listen to that right now. Another track, the woodwinds, that we pan to the left. And this is what happens when I add the background vocal to the mix. As you can tell, that vocal is not very pronounced. It's not very loud because it's meant to have that effect and be in the background. And now we're going to add our lead vocal to the mix. Basically, that's what you have to do. You have to look for certain spots to put each track in the sound landscape. Also, with EQing, as we previously discussed, you want to adjust the EQing to the point where certain frequencies for each track stick out uniquely from the rest of the other tracks to distinguish that sound from the rest of the tracks as well. Alright, so we just got done doing a rough mix of our tracks. And as you can see, I basically laid a foundation to start off. What tracks I considered most important to build upon and which would serve as the foundation for everything else. And as you can see, the last tracks that I decided to mix in were the vocals, because they're, for the most part, the ones that you want to stand out the most. I also explained how mixing is not just adjusting volume levels, but also panning things in the left-right landscape of the musical sound. Also, depending on what type of product you're putting out, if it's a DVD or whatnot, it might be in high definition. It might have surround sound, so then there are other avenues to explore as well. But we were just dealing with a stereo left-right sound, and even in that case, there are many options on how you would want to mix your song together. And the next video will probably discuss automation, which is another aspect of mixing. But until then, peace out. Have a blessed day.